All right, everyone, welcome back. And today we're going into section 1.2, and this is the history of sociology. This part of the chapter helps you to understand where sociology came from, why it emerged when it did, and who the major early contributors were. Knowing this history gives you a clearer sense of why sociologists ask certain questions and use particular methods. Sociology did not appear out of nowhere. Conerly and colleagues explained that it developed during a time of dramatic social, economic, and political transformation. Two major forces created the conditions for sociology to emerge. First, the Industrial Revolution reshaped societies across Europe in the 18th and 19th centuries. Traditional rural life gave way to crowded cities, new factory systems, and intense class divisions. People who had lived in stable communities for generations suddenly found themselves navigating urban poverty, long working hours, and unfamiliar social relationships. Second, the political revolutions of the same era, including the American and French revolutions, raised new questions about freedom, rights, democracy, and the role of the individual in society. Taken together, these massive shifts created uncertainty. Old explanations no longer fit the rapidly changing world. As Conerly et al. Point out, scholars began searching for a systematic and scientific way to understand what was happening and why. That search is what eventually became sociology. One of the earliest thinkers to propose a new scientific study of society was Auguste Comte. Conerly et al. Described Comte as the person who coined the term sociology and who believed that the methods used in the natural sciences, such as observation and experimentation, could also be applied to social life. Comte argued that society operated according to discoverable laws, just as the physical world did. He called this approach positivism, or the idea that knowledge should be based on systematic observation and empirical data. While some of Comte's ideas did not stand the test of time, his belief that society could and should be studied scientifically still forms a foundation of the discipline today. Moving forward, Emil Durkheim expanded sociology as a scientific endeavor. Conerly et al. Highlight Durkheim's focus on social facts, meaning the laws, morals, customs, and cultural expectations that shape collective life. Durkheim believed that these social facts existed outside the individual and exerted real influence on behavior. His work demonstrated that social issues, such as suicide, could be studied empirically by identifying patterns across groups. Durkheim helped establish sociology as a legitimate academic discipline by showing that social phenomena were measurable, patterned, and influenced by forces larger than individual psychology. Another major figure discussed in the text is Karl Marx. Conerly et al. Emphasized that Marx viewed society as shaped by economic structures and class struggles. According to Marx, the conflicts between the bourgeoisie, who controlled the means of production, and the proletariat, who sold their labor, was the engine of social change. Marx's ideas laid the groundwork for what became known as conflict theory, which continues to influence sociological research or inequality, power, and domination. While Marx is often associated with political ideology, the textbook frames him as a theorist who focused on the economic forces shaping human society. His contributions remain central to sociological thought. The next major theorist you encounter in this section is Max Weber. Conerly et al. Explained that Weber was skeptical that society could be studied with the same kind of scientific predictability used in the natural sciences. He argued that culture, values, and human intentions shape behavior in ways that cannot be captured purely through positivist methods. To address this, Weber introduced the concept of verstehen, which means to understand in a deep way. For Weber, sociologists needed to interpret social action from the perspective of the people engaging in it. His approach led to qualitative methods such as in depth interviews and participant observation. Weber helped broaden sociology beyond a purely scientific model to one that acknowledged meaning and subjectivity. Conerly et al. Also note that the tension between Comte's scientific approach and Weber's interpretive approach created two major branches of sociological research. On one side, positivist sociology focuses on uncovering general social laws and patterns using quantitative data. On the other side, anti positivist sociology emphasizes understanding social meanings and experiences, often using qualitative methods. These two perspectives shape the development of the field and still influence how sociologists conduct research today. Sociology eventually spread to the United States, where early American sociologists adopted and expanded European ideas. Conerly et al. Mentioned several key figures: W.E.B. Du Bois, who brought rigorous empirical methods into the study of race, community life, and inequality. His work in Philadelphia became a model for sociological research. Jane Addams, who linked sociological research with social reform. Lester Ward, who advocated for the use of scientific methods to evaluate social policies. These scholars helped establish sociology as a respected academic field and expanded its focus to include issues such as race, poverty, gender, and urban life. So, when we talk about the history of sociology, we're really talking about a response to social upheaval. As industrial cities grew and political revolutions reshaped societies, early thinkers created the tools we still use to analyze social life today. Their work laid the foundations for the theories and the research methods we will explore throughout this course. In the next session, we'll move on to theoretical perspectives in sociology, where you will start to see how these foundational thinkers influence the major frameworks we still use today.